The Nissan Armada is one of our favorite full-size SUVs, and it's available in so many different grades, including this, for 2026, a NISMO, a Nissan Motorsport branded full-size truck weighing over 6,000 pounds with the hardware to actually make it more sporty and enjoyable on the road. This is a unique offering that Nissan has never done. I've driven lots of Armadas before, and I'm very excited to take this track-ready Nismo for a ride on the street. The Armada NISMO is an experiment for Nissan's future off-road performance models. Think Frontier and the upcoming Xterra. I've tested the Z NISMO, so to see Nissan apply that level of engineering to a full-size SUV, we had to get one at CarGurus. I've also tested the Armada Platinum Reserve and the Pro 4X, and that means the NISMO needs to feel different to justify the name, Nissan Motorsport. The Armada is already a handsome and edgy-looking vehicle. It's known around the world, especially in the Middle East, for being a very, very tough truck where it's sold as the Nissan Patrol. But now we've got the NISMO. It's 1.3 inches longer than a regular Armada because of these special front and rear fascias, the bumpers. There's that diffuser out back, that's what it looks like. It's protruding a bit more, so is the front. It's very aggressive aero for a giant truck that weighs over 6,000 pounds. That's why there is a spoiler on top of the liftgate. Why not? There's a lot of red striping. There's NISMO badges on the front, the back, including the side. The Armada logo on the D-pillar is in bright red. In stealth gray paint, this is the same exact spec you can get on a Nissan Z NISMO. I think that's pretty cool. And these wheels are forged. They're 22 inches. Forged wheels cost a heck of a lot of money in the aftermarket, and they're on this truck. You don't need to have them, but damn, they really do look good. And the suspension is actually dropped. These are air suspension, and it does lower when it's parked, but compared to a regular Armada, it's dropped 0.7 inches. You can see that lowered stance on this truck even when they're riding higher in the upper settings. You can do 2 inches maximum, but if you truly do want the off-road capability in an Armada, you get that Pro 4X model. The Armada NISMO gives up some of the brighter colors and the softer leathers for a race car aesthetic. It starts with the seats. They're heated and massaging, but they've got power side bolsters. And there's leather and micro suede in every row. Red and black with red seat belts. There's a red hash mark on the steering wheel. More red accents on the dash. This carbon twill fabric on the doors and the dash. More black suede on the door panels. It is a good-looking interior. And the physical controls on the center stack are particularly welcome in a digital age. The interior just reeks of high quality. It's drenched in it. And the price really isn't all that high for what you're getting. The NISMO only comes with captain's chairs. Other trims you can get a bench or they're optional. But on this model, of course, they're red and black, just like up in front, more NISMO embroidery. You get the armrest here, you get USB ports, third zone climate, panoramic roof. It's all good. And there's actual space in the third row for 3 across. The Armada is appropriately large in the cargo area. 20 cubic feet behind the third row, 56 behind that second row, and when everything is folded, 97. The third row is power folding down and up. The second row just manually releases down, so you're gonna have to go bring those up yourself. But really, what's really cool here is that you can adjust the air suspension on the side when the vehicle is running. Plus, there's a power outlet here just behind me. Very convenient. The Armada already packs a wallop of an engine. It's a 3.5-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine. And every normal Armada, it's making 425 horsepower. But here in the NISMO, it's 460. Not a whole lot, right? Because they didn't really re-engineer anything in here. It's basically an ECU tune. There might be slightly more turbo boost. Nissan, though, has gone on record to say that they've changed some of the valve clearances. So basically, they tightened up the valve clearance, effectively where the intake and exhaust valves are operating. And it does feel marginally quicker. It does. There's no programming at all, from what I can tell, with any of the 9-speed automatic transmissions. So that's the same. And you can get the sport driving mode in other Armada trims. But the extra boost is nice, and it's actually more than you can get. 10 more than the Infiniti QX80, which costs a whole lot more. Now the paddle shifters are good, but again, there's no Sport Plus driving mode like you'll find in the Nissan Z NISMO. I think that's really because They wanted to keep development costs down because, again, this is an experimental truck. That's how you can consider the Armada NISMO. They don't know how well people are going to respond to something because there's nothing like this in the market. You can't find something like this unless you're going to go maybe down to the mid-size class and get, say, an AMG GLS. That's still considered mid-size. This is full-size. This is body on frame. The only other vehicle you could get that would eclipse this in performance would be the Cadillac Escalade V. But that price, again, $150,000 and even larger, or you get something that's just over 80. So the Armada NISMO is really operating in its own orbit here. The tune doesn't change the fuel efficiency at all. It's in the teens. Really, you're only getting 19 mpg on the highway. Very big vehicle. And I do miss the old Armada's 5.6 liter V8. It sounded even better. But the refinement here, even when you're not really hammering on the throttle, it shifts quickly, it's unobtrusive. This is more of a luxury engine. It absolutely is. The turbochargers make a big difference. It's quiet. And what you'll find is actually some knowledge, some really gleaned from the GTR's twin turbo V6 engine in terms of turbo responsiveness. And also using materials, for example, that are really good at effectively embracing all kinds of crazy heat that you'll get in a turbocharged engine. So whenever someone says, hey, is that turbo engine gonna last versus the naturally aspirated one, I would say Nissan's engineers know how to do a turbocharged V6, make it at very high loads. And remember, on the Armada, this is the most torque any Nissan has ever made, 516 pound-feet, which is a lot. And truly, I think this engine is capable of more. I think they're gonna push probably 550, 600 by the time Infiniti comes out with a performance version of the QX80, and that is coming. So it gives you just an idea of where the Armada NISMO could go. Every Armada rides with a double wishbone front and rear suspension, really good. And these upper trims from the Pro 4X on and up, including this NISMO, have air springs. Now the dampers, the shock absorbers, have been retuned, as have the air springs with this NISMO version. So not only is the truck riding lower, it is riding a little firmer. Not that much firmer, but the responsiveness is notable. This truck is really flat in turns, almost as if it has active anti-roll bars, which it does not have. So it's just using a standard anti-roll bars front and rear, great suspension setup, and air springs. But it's just so well controlled. Nissan has also retuned the electric power steering, not the ratios, nothing else, but just the feel of the steering. So it feels slightly quicker in terms of turn-in feel. It isn't actually. And I'd actually argue there's still some slop off center, because this is still a 4x4 body on frame truck with a low range gearbox. It has it. So it's interesting just how I see a 12 o'clock hash mark here, which you'd find on racing cars, and it's here in an SUV that's meant to tow a giant boat. But I think it speaks volumes about the Armada's chassis, because there wasn't much that Nissan really needed to do. The tires, these Bridgestones, and they're 22 inches, they're performance all-season tires versus the regular all-seasons. They didn't throw summers on here, nothing like that, but just enough touch points that you feel, okay, this truck is elevated. Not a lot, but you'd have to drive the other Armadas, which I have, to notice any bit of difference. And for anyone who doesn't care, well, I mean, the appearance by itself may just be worth that money. I think it is. And also, let's be real, the looks that you'll get in an Armada NISMO, especially from people who are driving sports cars, WRXs, especially among the Japanese set of cars, where people really collect them and tune them, they're not used to seeing NISMO, which is Nissan Motorsport. They're not used to seeing that on an Armada. Never. So I'm very curious to see where this goes. I like it. I think they're doing a good job with it. I would like to see some more upgrades with the Armada NISMO. Maybe we'll see that as the model years continue. Because I think with some transmission programming and maybe just a smidge more power, even more, this thing could really take off. I also think the exhaust could be louder. Nissan has tuned it here on this Armada NISMO. It's supposed to be a little louder. It sort of is, but it really isn't. So I think that's a wash there. Towing though is exactly the same, 8,500 pounds, as you would expect from a vehicle in this class, which is good. Now you're not gonna mistake an Armada NISMO for a Durango Hellcat or any number of cars from say Porsche or AMG Mercedes. Nothing like that. It's not meant to compete like that, but it absolutely, in my opinion, outhandles a GMC Yukon, a Ford Expedition, anything in that class in the full size, really. You gotta drive this vehicle to understand how good the dynamics are from one generation to this one. And the brakes are also good. Again, not a lot of dive. And with the NISMO version, it's the same brake rotor size and thickness. So I wish they actually had upgraded the brakes just a bit, but they feel good. The Armada NISMO and other upper Armada trims have two 14.3-inch displays, really crisp, really clear. Massaging seats up here you can adjust. You can also adjust the power folding third row here. Nice and simple. You can also adjust this if you want using the steering wheel. Kind of nice, but it's a little bit more limited in control. Also great is Google built in, so you get the navigation, you get assistant. You also have a ton of analog controls for the cameras. These are great views, by the way. I really like the fact that that's here. Most of the climate control, some of it, like if you want the fan direction right here, that's on the screen. Again, this operates so quickly. All the four-wheel drive modes and, of course, all the driving modes. This is great. So many vehicles are putting everything into the touchscreen, but not the Armada, and I like the fact that it has that. There's also a 12-speaker clip stereo on here, 600 watts, and in those cameras, I'd also say, there's an invisible hood view, so when you're driving forward, for example, you can see what's underneath you. It essentially renders that for you, and if you want to, you can actually have it extend across both screens. I don't know of any other vehicle to let you do that. The instrument panel, like in other Nissan models and Infinitis, really, really good. And by that, I mean easy. Now in the NISMO, you get that special tack over there, and you also get the suspension stroke indicator here. You see the little blue bars there? That varies based on basically the compression and the rebound of the springs. I like that, that's pretty cool. You can see the degrees for the off-road, which you wouldn't really want to take the NISMO through, but so be it, you can because it's four-wheel drive. See the Google Maps here as well. Nice integrations here. I also like ProPilot Assist, that's available on here. It doesn't have the full suite of features that you're gonna find like automatic lane changing, but again, most of it's here and there's no head-up display, so you'll have to go without that on the NISMO. You can find it on the Platinum Reserve. Basically everything else is here. And again, there's 3 different themes, so if you don't like that background, you can change it. The 2026 Nissan Armada starts at $59,000. There are 6 trims. As tested with destination and a few options like the extra charge paint, $84,000. The Ford Expedition, Chevrolet Tahoe, and the GMC Yukon are its primary competitors, but none in the non-luxury segment. None of them are like the NISMO. So the Armada NISMO doesn't go as far performance-wise as the Z NISMO does, but it does add a lot of enhancements that you will notice. And all of the aerodynamics and the style, especially on the interior, I like what Nissan's doing, and they're not charging a big premium for this truck either. As all the prices in this segment go up, there's nothing else like an Armada NISMO. And across the entire Armada lineup, from the base model all the way to the Platinum Reserve, there's so many ways to configure this truck, and it's truly a value. The way it drives, the technology, and really the refinement. This truly is a luxury vehicle in a ways like the Americans, like the GMCs, those type of vehicles don't feel the same level of quality. What do you think? And if you want more SUV reviews, especially the full-sizers, we've got them. CarGurus.com, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.